mostly generative AI music. For all you folks who are big fans and keep trying to convince me that it's the wave of the future and we better embrace it and we better come around or it's going to run us over whether we like it or not, who are you trying to convince? Are you trying to convince me or are you trying to convince yourselves? Because methinks thou dost protest a little bit too much. The proof is in the pudding. In general, people don't want songs that are mostly generative AI music. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't legitimate uses for AI. There are, of course, there are exceptions. If you're a producer, maybe you use it for mastering. If you're an artist, maybe you use it to make demos to pitch to people. Or maybe you had a problem with your throat, so you need to use an AI voice. I'm not saying that there aren't legitimate uses. And there are certain genres where maybe it doesn't matter as much. Nobody cares if an AI song is in a club as long as it's a banger. And nobody cares if the background music at a sauna is AI. There are, of course, exceptions. A novelty song, no one cares if it's AI. A guy makes a nice little gift for his wife. That's perfectly fine. Nice little gesture. But in general, what I'm telling you is people are not going to warm up to generative AI songs and generative AI music. Because people care about things beyond just the song itself. And the AI fans and advocates really don't like when you say that because they just say, it only matters if it's a good song. All that matters is it's a good song. That's not true. Psychologically, it's not true. People care about more, especially when you're talking about certain genres like rock and country and singer-songwriter and some indie. People care about the emotions and the feelings that went behind picking out the music and playing the music and how the music sounds. And they care about the externals. Whether we like it or not, that's part of the quotient. We're psychologically wired that way to respond to real human beings as opposed to computers imitating real human beings. Now, before you even get to it, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, well, they said the same thing about auto-tune, and they said the same thing about synthesizers and electronic drums. First of all, it's a false equivalence because there are questions of degree, and there are questions of transparency, and there are questions of artistic intent. So when I say artistic intent, for example, sometimes people use the technology to make meta commentary about technology. So someone like Gary Newman might use icy synthesizers to say something about alienation, or maybe musicians in the 80s were harnessing the sounds of electronic drums to create new sounds. Someone could still do that. Someone could still take AI and make some kind of statement about AI, or maybe the sound of AI, create an aesthetic out of that. But when it comes to the uncanny valley with AI, generative AI, just mimicking people and imitating how people sound and imitating what instruments sound like, there's going to be a big hurdle with people warming up to that. And if they don't know that they're listening to something that's trying to pretend to be human, that's a big turn on. That counts to people psychologically, whether we like it or not. And again, it's not that there aren't going to be exceptions. If it's a novelty song or whatever, maybe guy made a nice little gift for his wife, that's all cool. More power to him. There's legitimate production uses. But in general, what I'm telling you is a guy who, let's say, he writes all his own lyrics and he puts it to generative AI music, the public at large doesn't want it, and they're not going to care in general. It may be a few exceptions. This one's really good. But in general, they just don't want to know. And the proof is in the pudding. So before you get on my butt about how, no, you just don't want to accept technology, it's where the rubber hits the road. People aren't accepting it. They don't want it. And they have the right to know when something is AI or not. That goes into the equation. That's just the way it is.